If you like our video, click the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel and get easy access to new content. To see our full suite of ad-free video courses and training materials, visit us at teachucomp.com. Sometimes a customer's check may be returned for non-sufficient funds. There are two methods for recording a bounce check in QuickBooks Online Plus. You can record bounce checks using either an invoice or an expense or journal entry. If you use an expense or journal entry, it must come from a customer originally invoiced using accounts receivable. For example, you can use that method if the bounce check was received from a customer payment on an invoice using the receive payment window. One way to handle a bounce check is by using an invoice. Note that using this method overstates the sales shown in the standard Sales by Customer Detail report by the amount of the bounce check, as this report shows all sales regardless of account type. While this may not be a huge concern, it is important to note if you frequently use this standard report. Before you enter a bounce check using a new invoice, you must either have or create two service items. The first item is for the bounce check amount and links to the bank account into which the bounce check was deposited. The second item is for the bank fee charged for the bounce check. If you do not know your location's rules, first check with your accountant to ensure you can collect bounce check fees. Also note this second item, if you create it, needs to reference an expense account or a specific contra income account. For example, it could use a bank charges and fees expense account. Also, you may already have these items in your products and services list if this is not the first time you have recorded a bounce check. You only need to create them once, assuming you don't need to edit their associated accounts, so you can reuse them if they exist. However, if they don't exist, then you'll need to create them. If you need to create the new service item to record the bounce check, click the Settings button in the QuickBooks Online toolbar. Then click the Products and Services link under the List setting in the drop-down menu to open the Products and Services page. Then click the New button in the upper right corner of the page to open the Product Service Information pane. Then click the Service choice to show the next pane. In this pane, enter a name for the item, like bounce check for example. Then use the Income Account drop-down to select the account on which the check was returned. For example, select the checking account or whichever account is used to make deposits from sales. Then select Non-Taxable from the Sales Tax category drop-down. When finished, click the Save and New button to save it and open a new pane. If needed and if allowed in your location, to then create another service item to collect the bank fees you were charged for the bounce check. Enter a name for the item like bounced check fee into the name field of the Product Service Information pane. Then use the Income Account drop-down to select a contra income or expense account. You can select the Bank Charges and Fees expense account or click the Add New option to create a new account as needed. Then select Non-Taxable from the Sales Tax category drop-down. Then click Save and Close to save it and close the pane. To then create an invoice for the bounced check, click the Plus New button in the navigation bar and then click the Invoice link under the Customer's heading. Select the customer that bounced the check from the Customer drop-down. Enter the date the check bounced in the Invoice Date field. On the first line of the line items area, select the bounced check item, or whatever you named the first item, from the Product Service drop-down. Then enter the amount of the bounced check into the Amount column. If legally allowed and if desired, then on the next line in the line item area, select the Bounce Check Fee item from the Product Service drop-down. Then enter the amount of the charge from your bank or the maximum amount you are legally allowed to charge, if applicable, into the Amount column for this line. Then click the Save and Close button to save the invoice and close the window. To record the bank service charge you paid for the bounced check as an expense, click the Plus New button in the navigation bar and then click the Expense link under the Vendors heading to open the Expense window. Select the name of your bank from the Payee drop-down. Select the bank account from which your bank withdrew the funds from the Payment Account drop-down. Enter the date the check bounced into the Payment Date field. Then type something like NSF fee into the reference number field to reference the type of expense. Select your Bank Charges and Fees expense account, or whichever expense account you use to track your bank fees, from the Category column in the Category Details line item list. Then enter the amount you were charged by the bank for the bounced check into the Amount column. Then click the Save and Close button in the toolbar to then save it and close the window. To collect payment on the new invoice, follow the normal Receive Payment steps in the Receive Payment window to accept payment on the bounced check and any bank charges. When your customer pays the invoice containing the charges from the bank, you simply receive payment on the invoice to create a new deposit amount. Using this option to link your bounced check item in the invoice to the bank account into which you make deposits reverses the check in your bank register. This saves you the extra step of creating a debit to offset the original credit to your income account. Remember to click the subscribe button to see more of our videos. Get ad-free courses at teachucomp.com.